While I've been to camp, I've also been to a retreat before around Christmas time.
I have enjoyed going to a number of women's retreats at Silver Lake.
And I have been a conferee at Silver Lake 6 times. I've been a counselor twice, and I was supposed to be on summer staff of 2021.
I've been to Silver Lake on a couple of men's retreats.
And my main connection to Silver Lake are the women's retreats Saugatuck holds each year.
I have been on a couple of all-ages retreats. I've done a bunch of family retreats. I was a conferee for 5 different summers, and I was a counselor for 2 summers.
Just being around the campfire at night.
And as soon as I cut off the main area and start heading up towards the retreat area, I'm amazed at how relaxed I begin to feel.
The first image and memory that comes to mind is probably driving in and seeing the dining hall and seeing just a bunch of tables with a bunch of excited people getting ready to set people up for camp.
For me, it's the walk through the woods down to the lake.
Is a community of love, support, peacefulness, and God's presence.
Is the waterfront and the lake, which admittedly is cliche.
I just really love swimming in the lake.
There are times at night when we'll get together and we might do a meditation and really just relax and be amongst friends.
Probably ceramics. I especially like ceramics when I counseled because it's really interesting to see like the individual kids and see how they what they decide to make and how that comes to light with their personalities.
Well, I have to say my favorite activity was stacking firewood. I enjoyed it. It was fun. We were doing something, and it was almost like playing together with the other fellows.
Walking down to the lake with a group of women from the retreat. The scenery and beauty of the lake is calming, and the conversations are fun and inspiring.
Sandcastle building that we did as a part of God's Imaginarium, because we did that earlier on in the week, so it was a chance for the conferees to bond and also a chance to be creative and imaginative in the sand, and it was always really exciting to see what everyone was going to create.
At Silver Lake, you really get to meet new people that you just don't really make these connections in other places. And you really just get to spend a lot of time out with nature, which sometimes you don't have the opportunity to normally. It's really kind of a nice break from everyday life.
It seems to me that Silver Lake is such a spiritual spot and a wonderful place to go to sort of center yourself.
Silver Lake matters a lot to so many people because of the energy and the essence that is brought together and made there with the people. Silver Lake is just a place where everybody knows that you're accepted before anybody really has to outwardly tell you.
Silver Lake gives one the opportunity to get away from the world. It's like going back to summer camp for adults.
I believe that it stands up to its reputation as God's backyard. I truly feel God's presence in everything around me while I'm there.
I think the community building that goes on at Silver Lake is really, really important, especially for younger kids who get a chance to see what that looks like. And this might be the first chance that they get to do that kind of intentional community building. I also think a lot of the sustainability stuff that's practiced and taught there is also hugely important, again, because it teaches the conferees about sustainability and the importance of taking care of the environment, and that's going to be an increasingly important thing to be cognizant of.
I have formed many lasting friendships at Saugatuck, but especially those friendships have been able to grow just by being together with people, to have set time to just sit down in a relaxed environment and enjoy talking to one another on a much different level.
I've made a lot of friendships at Silver Lake, but one that really jumps out to me is at God's Imaginarium. My first time being at Silver Lake, I met one of my good friends, Grace, and then we just happened to be at the exact same conference 2 years later, and we continued to be friends, and then we ended up counseling together for Allison and Craig for God's Imaginarium.
The men that I experienced the retreats with, I certainly got to know better.
I've established some very special lifelong friendships with roommates and others attending the retreats that I wouldn't have had a chance to anywhere else.
But I think the strongest connections I made at Silver Lake were with the groups of counselors that I counseled with for the last 2 years that I went, just because we all had lots of really big and important responsibilities to handle together, and that was a really big bonding experience for all of us.
Being at Silver Lake, it makes you really close to nature and just more appreciative of what's around you when you really just look around.
I couldn't help but have my spirituality and my belief in God strengthened by those conversations and have such deep meaning in what God means in my life.
I really kind of learned who I was and how I want to put myself out in the world. And I really like the person I am at Silver Lake, and that's really how much of the person I am out in the world.
It basically gave me a chance to kind of contemplate what I was doing, what was going on with my life, and a chance to kind of relax from the day-to-day cares of the world and think about what matters.
I think experiencing Silver Lake can be life-altering, bringing you closer to God and enriching your spirit.
Every time I go, it's just a reminder of how beneficial taking a break and going outside and being in nature is, just because everything really slows down and you get to really appreciate the moment and appreciate God's creation, and that's always been something that's really important to me.
It's just a really nice experience. The lake, the scenery, being with people, making new connections, and just the series of different activities that there is. It's just a very enjoyable overall experience.
I think you'll find that it is a great place to really learn about yourself, about your own belief system, about your own spirituality, and to have that belief system strengthened by being among other people, listening to other people, and growing together in the church.
I think everybody should have a chance to go to Silver Lake, whether you're at this church or another church, because it is a beautiful community where everybody can have a nice time, and it's such a magical time in such a short period of time.
It gives you a chance to contemplate, it gives you a chance to meet people, and it's fun.
It is truly a backyard that God has prepared to us, and a gift for our spirits. Enjoy it.
Being outside and in that space, both from what other people have said and my own experience, like really just allows you to center yourself again and really take some time for yourself and to reconnect with nature and God, and I think that's invaluable, and it's an excellent place to do that. So I can't recommend it enough.